Hey guys, so we're back for another stocks by request session. For those who are new to this is me analyzing the top stocks that you guys requested via social media. So for this video, we're primarily going to talk about GT Capital because as you all know, GT Capital had a lot of action today. The stock closed at 444 pesos and was up 15 plus percent. And what a massive move, no? Because we haven't seen stocks like that. When if for those who've been following the channel for the past few weeks, I've mentioned that we've been moving sideways, and as we've been moving sideways in general, you didn't see a lot of large moves either upward or downward, and volume over the past days or at least the past weeks when we were consolidating wasn't as strong and wasn't as good. But today, it was a large move for GT Capital as a whole, up 444, up 15 plus percent. And after this video, by the way, I'm going to talk more about the markets and what's causing and pushing the markets to move relatively higher. But we're just going to focus on GT Capital as of today, and we're going to talk about what's the charts also saying. And in terms of value turnover, just to get back to it, I think it had around 950 million pesos in terms of shares, in terms of value that was traded for the day. So, by the way, my name is Marvin Gurma, stock market trader and investor, and I've been investing in the market for over a decade now. And the heart of and the goal of this channel is just to educate you and give you enough information about trading and investing. And the reason why we tackle individual stocks is so that we can analyze them and look at it either from a fundamental standpoint or as what we all know my favorite, technical analysis, so we get to see what the price action is telling us in terms of its movement. So before I go into the charts, let's look at what GT Capital is. So number one, GT Capital, holding company owned by the T's. And as you all know, before, GT Capital was basically Metrobank. That's what it basically was, the bank. But as years started to progress also, Toyota just continued to earn as much as much as they could. And there was a point, not when, if I remember it properly, it was 2018. Toyota was even a larger, was contributing more already than Metrobank at that time. So you have Metrobank, you have FirstMetro Asset Management, which that's where their mutual funds are. Then you have Toyota. Then they also have their property development unit, large chunk of it. Then they also own 15 plus percent of Metro Pacific Investments. So that gives them their unit in power, infrastructure, uh, etc. But the largest chunk still of GT Capital is still, at the end of the day, your banking segment, and then you can add Toyota to the mix. And just analyzing it no, in the lens of what's happening on the lockdown and what's happening in the economy. Banks, of course, if you've been watching the previous videos, I've mentioned that they're partly hit as well because loan growth won't be there. There will be people who would default on their loans, and uh, there's an expectation that if people are not buying a lot of houses, then people taking out loans will also be lesser. But what's nice about this, just to balance everything out, our banking system is really good, and Metrobank has one of the best balance sheets. Also, they have they're well stacked to protect themselves based on what's happening right now. So if there's one thing you could expect, you wouldn't expect Metrobank to grow as a whole for the year, but in terms of should they be a problem, should you be scared about their fundamentals? I think they're a really still good company. Then Toyota. If you look at Toyota also, uh, you don't see a lot of cars driving around, especially during the lockdown. And if a lot of people's income is somehow hit, or at least an expectation of how they will earn is hit, or a lot of people are trying to stay liquid, they'll try to not buy a car first. They'll try to buy, and I've mentioned this in a lot of videos, they might not buy a car, but they might buy all of the basic necessities, all of the essentials. So in a way, no, I think the car industry also is hit because it's part of discretionary luxury spending. We're not like in other countries that it's cheaper to buy cars. If you go to the States, cars there are generally cheaper. If you go to other countries and you want to buy a second-hand car, you could buy a car for $1,000 or even less in a second hand. In the Philippines, it's not like that. Cars are still considered in broad effects, no, a luxury. Not everyone can afford a car, so it's something that's aspirational. So when you see people that their incomes are threatened, I think that they wouldn't they wouldn't buy cars as much. So that aspect of the income of GT Capital is also hit. Then you have then there. What's interesting though is Metro Pacific. Its stock price has gone up, and as the stock price has gone up, also it impacts its value in GT Capital. But also, if you look at the segment of Metro Pacific Investments, their toll roads unit are not, of course, no. If you're in lockdown and people are not traveling, it impacts the toll road collection. Then you have, of course, their water will be there, Meralco will be there. Meralco's earnings, of course, will be generally and fairly consistent, and you can still put MPI uh, as a defensive stock still when all is said and done. Now, let's look at the charts. And just to introduce myself also, I normally introduce myself in the middle because I would forget. May mga nagko-comment pa na, you always forget introducing yourself, and that's what they're watching. Yun yung inaabangan nila ng part ng video. But yeah, if you're new to this, my name's Marvin Germo. Please subscribe and smash the bell so you get updated every time I come up with new content about investing and about the stock market. So let's look at GT Capital. And guys, if you have any other requests, put them in the comment section. So as you all know, this video is out at 9 o'clock. Prior to this, we talked about the tender offer of FGen. Then after this, I'm gonna answer the question: why is the market moving up when everything that you're seeing in the economy not really doing so well? So that's what we're gonna talk about. But now let's look at the charts first because everything we need to know is found in the charts. Now I'm gonna put in some of my indicators first so that we get to holistically understand this. Now, number one, as you can see here, this is the large drop contributed by the lockdown. And for those who've been watching the videos, this has been very, very consistent also in most of the stocks that we have seen from large cap stocks, even to the ones with smaller market caps, that at some point in March, even prior to the lockdown and during the lockdown, we saw a large barrage of selling. And this large barrage of selling brought the stock of GT Capital down 41.6%. And to an intraday low, nagulat nga ako when this happened, of 58.5%. The intraday low of the stock brought it below 300 pesos per share, but eventually it closed here, intraday-wise. But after that, similar to what I've mentioned in the previous videos, the market started to move sideways. It started to consolidate. As GT Capital started to consolidate, this is what we saw. This is the entire consolidation pattern of GT Capital from March 16 all the way to where we are today, the 4th of June. So that being said, the support range for GT Capital at that point was at 348, around 350 pesos per share, and its resistance is around 486. So again, consolidation pattern, 348, resistance is at the 486 level, 487 level. That being said, allow me to zoom in. What we saw also was a bounce from the support. It was very, very clear that we saw the stock hover and confirmed itself as a support. How do we know that it confirmed itself as a support? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 days of it trying to hold and stay steady at this support level. 7 days of it trying to hold its ground. As it started to hold its ground here at the support level, it confirmed that buying was really happening. And in spite of what I've mentioned on the Toyota was hit or sales of Toyota will be lower, Metrobank is part of it. There will come a point in a stock, let me zoom in my face first. There will come a point in a stock where it becomes too cheap to ignore that the assets and the value of the company would somehow allow people who would want to bottom pick that even though there's a lot of uncertainty, but because the company is way valuable than that, they're the ones that are coming in. And that's what I'm saying. I'm saying that there might not be any growth for all of its subsidiaries and for GT Capital as well as a company. But because it was so battered down, it was so cheap that people who were bargain hunters wanted to start to come in. People who were bargain hunters wanted to buy the stock because, as what I've mentioned in all of the videos, that we will recover from this, we will reverse from this, that they're already thinking that because I'm buying it lower, that even though there's risk and uncertainty, somehow 1, 2, 3 years later, GT Capital will rebound, and it rebounding, buying it below 300 pesos comes out as a discount for them. Now, back to the charts. That being said, so this is what happened here. People were bottom picking. Now, that's why it formed the support level. So as you all know also from a technical analysis standpoint, when stocks hit a certain support level, buyers come in. As buyers start to come in, more buyers bring the prices up. As more buyers bring the prices up, stocks start to bounce. And that's what we saw also here. MACD confirmed it with a cross. Then we saw a breakout from the 20-day moving average, and we saw a breakout from the 50-day moving average. Also, if you try to confirm it, while all of this was happening, volume was already very, very strong. Starting with here, the end of May, we already saw a higher amount of interest for the stock. And for those who attended our Stock Smart sessions, what's clear here is this. Volume predicates everything, predicates a lot of moves. So it shows us also that while people were accumulating at this support level, volume was strong. It means a lot of people were also transacting, believing that this was a good area for them to buy. This was a good area for them to start to bottom pick. So there, what we do know also from a chart perspective is GT Capital bounced from support. GT Capital broke out from two moving averages already. Volume accompanied the price that we're seeing. And today, we had a large bullish candlestick. That being said, where will it probably go? The next best area for it to go is where the resistance is. And our resistance is what I've plotted earlier, is here at the 488 level. Couple of things you can get from this. Number one, for those who are quick traders, you can sum this up also as a target price for you to trade. This is also a 39-40% trade also for you depending on where you started to come in. So please remember, people who are investing in the market are most likely there also to earn a profit. So when there's uncertainty, and if you look at the charts also, it really hasn't reversed yet. I'm going to show you in a bit. But when there's uncertainty, people will also want to lock in their profits. And that being said, if GT Capital does not break from this resistance level that I plotted here, the common logic is basically it's just going to retrace. And it's just going to try to go back here to where the next support is, either the 50-day moving average or retrace back to the 20-day moving average or back here to where the normal support is. And it just stays in its normal consolidation range. It just stays in its normal consolidation range. But if it breaks out from this range, it breaks out from the 488 level, the next possible target for it is it could go possibly here to what the 100-day moving average, which is around the 558 level. Now, that being said, this is how GT Capital will look like. The bounce from this 340 level and the breakout from the 20 and 50-day moving average will bring it to this level, the 488 level. Failure to break out from that level may make it retrace back to either the 50 to 20-day moving average or as low as here, the 348 level. But if it breaks out, possible target price will be at the 558 level for the short term. So that's a composition for GT Capital from a quick trading standpoint. That's a composition for GT Capital from for those who like to trade the volatility of the stock. Now, allow me to zoom in so you have a clearer picture on how it actually looks like from the grand scheme of things. If I'm going to plot this as a major trend line, and as you can see here, it's still very, very evident that the long-term trend line, which reinforces itself as a resistance, is not yet broken. So that being said, even though there's a large bullish candle, even though it bounced from support and broke out from shorter moving averages, it's still not out of the woods yet. It still has not broken out yet. It still has not fully reversed yet and has moved into a more secular reversal into an uptrend or into a more bullish move. But what we do know right now is it's bullish for the short term. What we do know right now also is based on the candlestick, their range, and some short-term indicators, is there's a movement upward. It's not yet enough though for it to reverse into an uptrend, but for people who are trading the volatility, it places a lot of good opportunities for those who want to make more money off those trades. So there, I hope you guys got a lot from this. If you have any questions, put them in the comment section. If you guys have any other stocks that you guys want me to analyze, put them in the comment section below. And we're gonna give you as much detail about it as possible. And that's why we do stocks by request. Again, the goal of Stocks by Request is just basically to give you information, insight, reference point on how I would analyze things, on how I would do my charting, so that you guys also can replicate it. This is not me telling you that you just buy it blindly. You study, you do your due diligence, because as you start studying and doing your due diligence, that's what's going to help you trade the markets with conviction. For those who requested about my books, the link is you're seeing it scroll right here, but it's also in the description. You can click that. 5 books on technical analysis, fundamental analysis, and the basics of the market. And for those who are asking, tuloy tayo, Stock Smarts Manila, June 20. For those who've registered already, the team will send you emails on the details, following also the GCQ guidelines and following the mandate of SMX on how it's supposed to proceed under the new normal that we currently have. We also still have our online courses, Basics of the Stock Market with Chinkee Tan Stock Market for Everyone. Link is in the description. And we also have Make Money, Grow Money with Sean Si. It's business, entrepreneurship, and the basics of investing, the basics of the stock market. Links in the description below. Then, for those who want to invest in US markets, I have a link to eToro. It will allow you to buy US stocks. So, for those who want to learn how to buy Facebook, Amazon, Google, link is in the description. You can just click the eToro link. And then, I have other links below, from my Patreon account to other links from NordVPN and McAfee. It's all there. You can click them if you want to learn more about it. And also, trading desktop that you can use for those, trading laptop for those who want faster processing speeds when they start trading the markets. So there, I hope you guys got a lot from this. I hope this is something that was helpful for you. And if there's one thing that's very, very evident as we start talking about charts on as the market is moving up, I mentioned that when the market was moving down, yung tatalo sa inyo, yung emotions nyo. In the same way, when the market is moving up, yung tatalo din sa inyo ngayon yung emotions nyo. I know people get excited when they see stocks in general go up. People get excited and they want to transact quickly. But if emotions won't help you when the market is down, please do note also that emotions won't help you when the market is up. Do not sell or do not buy just because you are so excited that things are getting better. Don't base your trades on that. Base your trades out of logic, base your trades out of information, base your trades out of technicals. You buy when your buy signals based on technical analysis are hit. You sell also when they also get hit. The biggest mistake that you can do here is you start buying more just because you saw your stock go up. And the problem there is if you saw your stock go up, that places a risk already because you're not buying them at the most efficient place possible. So just to end this video, please stick to your plan. Stay the course. Do not sell just because you have to sell or just because you made money. Please do not sell just because you have a percentage gain. You sell what your technical indicators are telling you to sell. And your technical indicators should be dependent on who you are and the parameters that you've placed there as a stock market trader and investor. So there, I hope you guys got a lot from this. I hope you stayed till the end. And if you got value from this, I'd appreciate it if you could press the like, the thumbs up, so the YouTube algorithm shows this to more and more Filipinos. Then please comment below the stocks that you guys want me to analyze further. We're going to make more videos about that. Like this, a lot of people were asking about GTCAPITAL, and that's why we're doing GTCAPITAL right now. And for the next video, since this is around 9 o'clock, 10:30, expect me talking about why is the market up in spite that there's really nothing changing yet in terms of how the economy may be. I'm going to talk about the pros and cons of what's happening in the economy and how does that relate to the stock market. So that's it for now. This is Marvin Germo. I hope this video helps you trade well, trade strong, trade smart. See you all again soon, guys, and God bless you all.